got goodies. Front brake pads and the rear drum assembly for the rear brakes. Yes, so let's throw these guys on, get the front calipers on. I still don't have the cables or the brake lever for the front, but we can tidy up the back. We can get the back wheel on. We can get this thing a little closer to running. Oh, I also got a fuel petcock for the tank, so I need to make some sort of blocking plate for that other hole, just so nothing leaks out. And then I might be able to run fuel lines to the carbs. So we're getting close, really close. But then I have to deal with this. Yeah, about that. Brakes are installed. It's almost looking like a complete motorcycle now. So that was relatively easy. The only bad thing that happened was the paint down here. If you can see all this stuff here. So it turns out Rust-Oleum rattle can spray paint does not like brake cleaner. Who would have thought? I didn't give it any thought that it would have that much of an effect on the paint. So I need to touch this up and maybe look at a clear coat. One of those automotive, what do they call it, K2 or whatever. And I think that might protect from solvents and such like that, and then just make it easier to clean down the road. So I have to look into that, which means this whole assembly has to come off. But it has to come off anyway, because obviously we're not done with the rest of the bike. So that's a bummer, but it's not the end of the world. Let's move on to the back. I don't even remember how this went on. I messed up. So here's the rear brake, and I went to adjust it because it was super loose, and I can't get this lever back on because these threads are so chewed up, and this thing keeps moving in and out of this slot here. So if I push this on, I try to jam it, it just pushes that gear in. And yeah, so I think I'm gonna have to push from the back, which means I have to take the whole rear wheel off again. That sucks. But I was kind of looking at it, and I think it had to come off anyway, or at least get adjusted, because the center line of this wheel here is a little off center. If you can see, it's kind of pointing to the left of the monoshock in the back. So I think it's, I don't know, the alignment of the back wheel is off anyway. So this wheel's got to come back off. That was a half hour of a headache, but at least I figured out how it goes on, and knowing that I need to readjust the alignment anyway, I can back those pins out and make it easier to line everything up so I don't have to fight with it like I did the first time. So I'll see you when I get this thing off. And I just want to get that thing adjusted all nice, so I get a good brake pedal feel for the back. Okay, fuel tank plan, not gonna work. This is why. Here's the fuel tank as viewed from the back. Here's your fuel filler cap. So the gas comes in, and it goes down here, and it goes down here. There's a petcock here and a petcock here. So basically, once the gas gets to about this point, I'm going to use up all this stuff, and then there's just going to be gas sitting here not being used. So I'm losing out on like a gallon or so by only going to one system, unless I do like a crossover tube. But that would involve drilling into two sides and running a fitting and running a hose, and every time I want to take the tank off, I got to take the tank completely drained and all that. I don't feel like doing that. So I ordered another petcock. It's going on the other side, and this one's going on the front carb, this one's going on the back carb. Done. That's what we're doing. So in other words, we're stuck because I'm still waiting on parts. So I need the other petcock to come in, and I need my brake hoses to come in, and then we'll be in business. I did manage to get the back brake adjusted. I took the tire off, put it back on. It took me like 5 minutes once I knew what I was doing. So that's good. We got parts. We got everything we need to get this thing rolling. We have our master cylinder or brake fluid reservoir, whatever you want to call it. I don't know these things. Clutch lever. Also have brake lines. And I got excited and I already put 2 on the bike. So there's one part that's a little sticky right now, and it is the kind of like the splitter. So from the brake lever goes out into this T-junction, and all the bolts in that T-junction are kind of they're stuck right now. So I think I have to take that whole thing off, remove the whole assembly, and then work on it on the bench, get the thing unstuck, get everything cleaned out, nice, put the new stuff back on, reattach everything, and we should be able to ride today because it runs. So let's get to it. Here's the splitter. Came off relatively easily. 2 bolts slipped right out. These banjos are pretty tight. I sprayed them a couple times with penetrating fluid. I just couldn't get them off while they were on the bike because I couldn't get the wrench around to get all contact, and I was starting to round off the bolts just getting it with the flats. So let's see if I can get a I really need a bench vise. I had to clamp this thing to the edge just to get this off. These were tight. Definitely tight. I also hit them with a little bit of heat from the blowtorch. It seemed to loosen things up a little bit. A little bit rusty in there. So I'm definitely going to wash that out with maybe WD-40, I think. Should be fine. Hopefully I can get these guys off too. Let's see if I can do it right now. So what I did was I got this guy on it, and then I just kind of hit it with a hammer. Yeah, that didn't work. Hey, we got it. A little tougher than I thought it was going to be, but honestly not that bad once I had a good handle on it. I really need a bench vise. That's going to be my next investment. Probably after I get these carbs sent out to get rebuilt, because that's going to cost a little bit. But it's going to be worth it, because I'm having a professional do it, because I don't know what I'm doing. Anyway, cue the time lapse. We're going to get this guy reassembled with new brake lines. Alright, all set. Let's slap it back on the bike. Got these lines all on. And there's a little tight, there's not much slack in them, but it should be fine because we're at full rebound right now and it's still moving around a little bit. Plus there's a little clip that goes onto the fender right back here, and that's going to keep this away from the wheel enough. So should be fine. Now we have to see about getting this guy up here onto the new brake handle. So let's get to it. So I definitely need probably another 5mm or 5cm cable for this guy. It's a little tight and it's not making it all the way up near the grip, But for today's test, this will work fine. So let's tighten everything up, throw some brake fluid up here, get the system bled, and give them a test. Right, I got this tidied up right now just with zip ties. I'm gonna run that back underneath here eventually, but I have to get the rest of the bike apart first. Brake bleeding went pretty good. I have a nice firm brake pedal or lever now, but the only thing is now my wheel is it's stuck. So I don't know if that's because the calipers are bad or I just kind of jammed on this thing a little too hard. So I'm gonna see if I can roll it and get that freeing up a little bit. Peckaxe installed, fuel lines down to here. I'm gonna tidy this guy up in the back, just a little zip tie, just get him out of the way. And I think we're good to get this thing off the lift. So we missed a lot, but that's okay. My neighbor came over and I didn't feel like filming. I just wanted to kind of hang out with him and troubleshoot this guy. A couple things we learned. This brake, which is the left side brake, is crooked somehow. I'll draw up a little diagram for you. So here is, let's see, how does it mount? Oh, whatever. This is the brake caliper, essentially mount, right? But for whatever reason, the rotor is coming in at an angle. And it's rubbing against this inside here. And that's why it was so difficult to get the bike out. The other side is fine. On the other side, everything's hokey-dory. Here's our rotor, and we got the pads on the inside, and they're touching and they're rubbing, but they free up. So that's why we kind of zip tied this guy to the front here. We got it running, but it needed choke the whole time. Here's where the choke cable is supposed to be plugging in and coming in. But I think it's only running on one cylinder because this guy was still running, and yeah, I can touch that. And if I touch this, oh, that's really hot. Yeah, so it's only running on the front cylinder, which means the rear cylinder is jetted wrong or doesn't have compression. I still didn't even check the compression on this thing. So that has to be looked at. I might just pull the carbs again and double check the book settings, what the jets are supposed to be, and maybe mess with the idle mixtures. What else? We have this cover, this valve cover, I believe, is leaking some oil, and it's coming all down here and it's getting all nice and smoky. So that's not fun. But it does sound good. It sounds really good. The only thing is, it only sounds good on one cylinder. Oh well, we'll figure it out. Okay, I'm dumb. You know what? I don't know if this is the exact answer, but I know that I'm dumb. I just flipped this around. These were in backwards. At least in this one, this is upside down. It was, and I'm just gonna check this one right now. I haven't taken it off yet. No, okay, so this one is in the right way, and this one was in the wrong way. So I think that was my issue. Also, I noticed while I was taking the carb off of the rear cylinder that this O-ring was pretty chewed up, and I'm not sure if we're getting a good seal. So I don't have any O-rings, but I do have some gasket material, so I might cut a gasket in this shape, and hopefully that seals up enough. Let's get this thing back on the bike. Everything else looks clean. You can see straight through. You can see daylight down in the jets. So hopefully that's our problem. Getting there. Yeah, she needs a tune, but she's alive.